Dear students, welcome to this session. This one is the second part of the course, conflict management, change management and the conflict about the change management and the conflict management. The first part is about change management. The second part is about conflict management. Both are very important things, and both are very difficult in order to manage if it is strategically done by the responsible body. Conflict is normal. Conflict is normal. Even people there is a kind of internal conflict, a kind of external conflict. There is interpersonal conflict, there is intrapersonal conflict. There is organizational conflict, there is countries conflict. There is within conflict and outside conflict. Therefore, language for the conflict or cooperation. How language creates conflicts in a given organization, or how our language that we use really create a kind of cooperation. No matter who you are or where you live, if you are in contact with other people, you are likely to face some form of conflict. Whether you are in an advanced country, whether you are in an advanced country, whether you are educated person, whether you are uneducated person, whether you are spiritual person, whether you are not a spiritual person, but conflict is normal. Be it a minor irritation or an earth-shattering rock. Sometimes this conflict could be very minor case, and sometimes this conflict could be earth-shaking. It may create a kind of fighting between the individuals, among the group, among the people, among the organization, among the country. So, how language play positive or negative role in bringing conciliation or cooperation between the people? The answer to resolving this conflict is right under you, your nose. Okay? To bring a kind of conflict or to bring a kind of peace is under your nose. In the words you use. Words enable you to build bridges or create barriers. Words that we use when we communicate with people, it will create a kind of wide gap among the individuals, or it may bridge the gap narrow, or it may create a kind of barriers. Words have the power to heal or to wound. Words have the power to heal or wound. People may be healed because of your word. People may be wounded because of your word. Word, what we use when we communicate with people, may create a kind of unity or may create a kind of division. Words that we use in our organization also, when we communicate with people, will create conflict or it will create a kind of harmony. So we have to be very careful when we use our words. So words are, as I said earlier, it is a kind of heal. It will heal or wound. It will create unity or divide. It will create conflict or harmony. So conflict is simply defined as a struggle or contest between people with opposing needs, ideas, beliefs, values, or goals. So conflict is defined as a struggle or contest between the people with opposing needs, ideas, and beliefs. If there is opposing needs, if there is opposing ideas, if there is opposing beliefs, if there is opposing values, if there is opposing goals, conflict will create. The question is, how do we cope with this difference? How do we cope with this difference? How can we make conciliation between an organization among the individuals in order to bring a shared understanding, shared goal, shared beliefs, shared values, shared ideas, and shared needs? If there is a kind of difference in these things, conflict is normal. If there is shared ideas, shared beliefs and values and goals, at least we can minimize conflict, even though we cannot stop conflict. So conflict is inevitable. And the result of conflicts are not predetermined. The conflict could be constructive, conflict could be destructive. Learning to manage conflict is integral to a high-performance team. In order to bring high-performance team in a given organization, we have to learn the conflict itself. What is a conflict? What are the issues? What are the root causes for those conflicts? Therefore, if we study that thing, and if we manage those things, we can at least manage conflict in a given organization. So conflict management involves acquiring skills related to conflict resolution. Conflict management is simply regaining skills in order to resolve conflict. Conflict management is acquiring, knowing self-awareness about the conflict modes. Conflict management is knowing or acquiring knowledge about conflict communication skills and establishing a structure for management of conflict in your environment. Therefore, it is related to conflict resolution. Conflict management is related to conflict resolution, learning about self-awareness, learning about conflict modes, learning about conflicting communication skills, because earlier I said that language is one of the sources of conflict. Establishing a healthy structure for management of conflict in our environment. Therefore, conflict management aims to limit and avoid future violence by promoting positive behavioral changes in the parties involved. It is what? Limiting. It is what? Shortening. It is what? Avoiding. If it is not possible avoiding, at least minimizing future violence by promoting positive behavioral changes in the parties involved. How the view explains our differences. How the way we perceive this world, how the way we perceive our relatives, how the way we perceive our work, how the way we approach our customer create a kind of difference. Dear scholars, this chapter deals with how expectations, your customer expectation, how differences in view, reality and the totality contributes to our differences. Expectations bring differences. If we expect to see something in a positive way, if the result is negative, it will create a kind of conflict. If there is a gap between reality and the totality, if the reality is there and the way how we experience and understand this world is different, still it will create a kind of difference. So, different cases presented in this chapter to explain difference in views. Practical examples are given in this work, in this module, which is developed by Guerrilla International Seminary. Behavior of different individuals are presented. Characteristics of the individuals are presented. Views of different individuals are also presented. I advise you to read a module prepared by Guerrilla International Seminary from page 35 to 40. You will find here very important things. It talks about the view. It talks about the reality. It talks about the totality. How it talks about the expectations. How these things will create the view and the difference in our life. So please read this part very carefully. Another point is about difference in personality types. People who are inflexible and locked in their own style are experienced as difficult and source of conflict. There are some people who are inflexible. There are some people who are rigid to take ideas of other people, to communicate with people, to exchange ideas from different individuals, to share their idea and to share ideas of other people. They are locked in their own style. They always listen their own idea. They always treat their idea. They always just appreciate their own idea. This kind of people are what we call inflexible people. This kind of people are locked people in their idea. Always they are right. So these kind of people are one of the sources of conflict. So this is one about what we call it about the personality of the individuals. Some personality, the character of the people, the enduring potential of the people, always appreciate themselves. Different people have different drives, different values, different styles. The interest of different people is different. You see? Therefore, they will give different kinds of values. And the style of work is totally different. Some people are achievement-oriented. Some people are care-oriented. Some people are perfection-oriented. Each has strengths and weakness. If we are achievement-oriented, we ignore about the human about the human element. We give more emphasis about the productivity of the organization, about the achievement of the organization only. Some are care-oriented. They give more emphasis for people rather than organization. Some people give more preference about the perfection, about the quality of service, quality of the productive. Each has strengths and weakness. One or a combination of these basic styles drive us all. We can use all of them at different times, but feel most comfortable and good when using our own style. Good. Students, be careful when you talk about the personality of the individuals. These are some of the functions even of the managers. Some managers are product-oriented, some managers are people-oriented, some managers are perfection-oriented. That's good. But all are important for the achievement of the organization. But what we have to do is, let us find ourselves. Who are we? What makes us different from other people? And we have to identify to use our own style, and we have to use the style that is more productive for our organization. In this case, if you want to increase the productivity of that organization, and if you want to increase the quality of the service in a given organization, you have to know your personality. You should not be inflexible, and you should not lock yourself in a given area. So you have to be ready in order to accept the ideas of other people, the motives of other people. And in the meantime, you are not expected to swallow all things which come from the people. But you have to make what? You have to make a kind of judgment, your own judgment. Another point is fight the difference or celebrate. Difference is normal. Are we expected to fight with this difference, or we are expected to celebrate this one? Let me give you just a minute, fraction of a second, please, to think about this point. Is it fighting the difference more important, or celebrating the difference more important for us in order to live this world? As we have said earlier, conflict is not inevitable, simply because we are different people. Conflict is inevitable. Difference is also normal. Why? Because we are unique. We can disagree and not be in conflict. We can disagree. We cannot accept the idea of someone. But this should not create a kind of conflict among us. Conflict is more to do with style than substance. Conflict should not be a kind of physical harm. It should not be a kind of material harm. Conflict should be simply a matter of difference between me and you, between you and your friend, between you and your family, between you and your organizational people. Therefore, we can disagree. You can not accept the idea of any person. That's good. But not be in conflict. Conflict is more to do with style than substance. It happens because of what we do and say about the difference, rather than arising from differences themselves. So the source of the conflict is simply because of the difference. Dear students, I will come back after a minute. I want to say a few points. I will come back after 3 minutes, but think about what difference is. Are we going to fight or celebrate this difference? This is an assignment. This is a kind of course which is given by Guerrilla International Seminary. So the next part section will be continued after sometimes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the final session that we are going to complete the session about the conflict and change management. As I said earlier, are we expected to fight or celebrate difference? Conflict is constructive and it can be also destructive. Conflict is constructive only if it results, one, the relationship is stronger. If you understand each other more, if there is greater willingness to meet each other's need, if there is greater trust, if you have resolved the source of future conflicts, if there are richer perspectives, then conflict could be constructive. If the conflict results in deeper frustration, negative feelings, and growing hostility, it is destructive to relationship. Dealing with causes, not only symptoms, are very important thing. There are some stages that relationships go through on the way to break down. One is to break down this kind of conflict. One is discussion. Another one is debate. Another point is viewpoint. The other point is argument. Discussion is bringing things to the table. Debate is openness to your ideas, respect for your idea or for your viewpoint. The other point is argument. I want to buy my ideas regardless of what you may be thinking. So you can buy your idea regardless of what somebody is thinking. I'm right and you are wrong. You should be doing it my way, characterized by disagreed for others' viewpoint. Argument is, or arguing from own perspective only, that is polarizing, will create a kind of conflict. So conflict not only do I believe I am right and you are wrong, but I insist you do it my way that you act, according to my values and beliefs. This conflict characterized by demands that you behave as I want, highly personalized arguments, loss of should, blame, and accusation put down. Breaking down relationship is now so painful that I need to protect myself or recover from the pain. I act as if you don't exist. This breakdown is characterized by silence, Cold War, separate lives. What are the choices? Each of us is different and special. We have our unique beliefs, values and needs, different perspectives, viewpoints, goals and approach are the natural consequence of this difference. The greater the differences, the more difficult it can become to maintain harmony in relationship. Be careful. Let me repeat it here. The greater the differences in what we are doing, in what we are talking, in what we are acting, the more difficult it can become to maintain harmony in relationship. The three broad choices when it comes to managing differences are: one is arguing, another one is debate, another one is conflict. Arguing is convinced we are right and the other should have our perspective. Debate our differences, respecting each other's and opinion. More conflict is more into conflict about the differences by imposing our way of doing things. Celebrate the difference, not fight. The view through your window is different, not better, not right, just different. The way what you think, the way what you assume, the way what you act, this is different. It may not be better, it may not be right, but simply justice is different. This difference needs be battleground. It can be the source for broader perspective. There is nothing wrong with you and there is nothing wrong with me. But there may be something wrong between us. Celebrate rather than fight the difference. Another point is about, are you building bridge or a barrier to conflict? If you are creating a kind of conciliation, you are bridging. If you are creating a kind of fighting battle, just you are creating a kind of barrier. Conflict will escalate or diffuse because of your conflict management style. You can aggravate or you can minimize based on your management style. People react to what you say and do, whether you defend, attack, retreat, appease. You affect how others will respond. It is dynamic moment, and you cannot the direction and the final outcome by the process you see, by how you use your words and energy. A resolution mindset. It doesn't have to be win-lose. This win-lose mindset forces you into competitive attitude in the language. Dear student, different methods of conflict resolutions, such as a reluctant partner, win-lose, bridging, power with not over, the power of cooperation. Please, these things are explicitly or clearly explained on page 52 to 56, which was prepared by Galila International Seminary. Please read this part about conflict resolution. Another point is understand and manage your feelings. Feelings are indicators of what is going on in your life. Anger is a signal that something is not right for you. It is your body's way of letting you know that something is wrong, that your values have been violated. Feelings are just another part of you. And like your arms and the legs, they can be controlled. You can control your arm, you can control your leg. Likely, you can control your feelings if you manage properly. So conflict is often high on emotion and low on reasoning. Conflict is often high on emotion and low on reasoning. What do you do? Feelings. Whatever you feel, you have a strategy for it. Feelings are a consequence of something you do. Your anger will be related to your thinking, your body, and your language. Make an intervention in one or all three areas, and you change the feeling. Feelings are less to do with the real world and more to do with what you tell yourself about the real world. It is all to do with that unique, subjective, partial view you have. Change your thinking if you want to change your feelings. Be careful. Change your thinking if you want to change your feelings. Another point is about develop your skills and increase your choice. There are three main patterns of response. One is fight, flight. Another one is fight. Another one is flow. Flight is lose-win style, means saying yes to accommodate the other person. It is usually the pattern for your people who value the relationship over the goal. Fight is win-lose style. It involves using power, threat, anything that will help to win the conflict. This pattern is used by people who value goals for relationship. Flow is win-win, both parties will be satisfied, but it is very difficult to achieve. In this approach focuses on three concerns area, on the concern of everyone and looks together for ways to each agreement. Skills for collaborations. Listen in order to create a kind of collaboration in a given organization. Please listen acceptingly. Find out what others see through their window on the world. Second, talk constructively. Share what you see through your window on the world. Third point is problem solve. Marry the views for mutual wins. Another point is about 4 steps for resolution. To conflict resolution, you have to follow at least 4 steps. The first step is attend to the other person first. Listen first. Second step is explore the need behind the want for both of you. What is the interest of you? What is the interest of that person must be clearly explored, clearly examined. Third step is invite the other's solution. What is the solution suggested by those individuals? Invite them. The fourth one is build maximum win. Steps 1 and 2 shows that you are trying to understand the other person. Steps 3 and 4 show that you are willing to meet their needs. Dear students, to develop better understanding about the above-mentioned steps for resolution, please read Unit 13 of your reading material as a whole. The other point is about preventing conflict. Of course, preventing conflict is very difficult work. Most scholars suggest that rather than preventing conflict, it is advisable to just make conflict to manage it in a proper way. Rather than wait for the crisis moment before you attend to your relationship, review it when everything is going well. Don't stay to the crisis moment. So you have to attend, you have to check, you have to review each step when you are doing something in a given organization. The other point is to prevent conflict. Second point is review the relationship. Are you making a kind of relationship with people? Yes. If you are doing that work, how is the relationship? You have to check that relationship. The third point is agree what is going well and what is not. What is good? What is bad? What is accepted? What is not accepted in that area in your organization must be clearly understood and clearly evaluated. The other point is discuss what matters most. All activities may not be equally important for the success and failure of the organization, but some parts are very important. Discuss that part very carefully. Okay. The other point is about last chapter of this course is about conflict resolution biblically. That means biblical conflict resolution. Dear students, please read the birth of the church, Acts 1-5, then chapter 6, 1 through about 9 to 12, 29. Persecution leads to expansion. Acts 9-30 through chapter 12, the acts of Peter, and the beginning of gentle Christianity. Then Acts 13 So 15 is the fourth section, the first missionary journey and the Jerusalem Conference. The Jerusalem Conference, a real conflict in the church that causes us to look at the theme of the biblical answer for the resolution of conflict. How earlier Christians went about dealing with their conflict. To this part, I think it is better to read the whole part of Acts. If you read this part, you can find everything in the organization. The other point is, how is church problem solved? One is, problem must be solved if we define the problem, not the symptom. Problem must be clearly defined. That problem must be identified depending on its root cause. Second point is, conduct full and open discussion. Assess overall situation of that environment or the overall situation of the organization, maybe in terms of its resources, that means human resources, economic resources, financial resources, time resources. In all aspects, you have to understand what is in that what is going on in that organization. The second point is, in order to solve problem of church, the third point is, take time to listen to people who had a sense of the Lord's genuine leading in their life. People may bring you different kinds of information. So this information is very important for you. So you have to listen to those information. Sometimes, dimensions which is not seen by you may be brought by your colleagues or by your followers or by your leaders. So you have to listen that. Second point is, apply the word. That means discussion. Open discussion must be given. Chance must be given for individuals in order to forward about their ideas, about their solution, about their interest, so you can evaluate and make decision. The other point is about separate the major from the minor issues. When you try to solve problem in the church and even in any area, what are the major problem and what is a minor problem? Major problems may be some of the serious problems which need immediate action, timely action. It may not bring something good if you do it or if you sleep on it for a long period of time. So you have to identify this major form, the major problem and minor problem must be clearly separated. Another point is, clearly communicate the decision. Decision is one of the alternative solution for the observed problem. So that decision must be clearly communicated for the people. Final point is, dealing time with, again, sometimes a given problem may be solved, but that decision may not be adequate enough. Therefore, that communication or that decision must be communicated for all people in a given area. Therefore, one of the most important things in order to resolve your problem is listen people carefully, explore the idea of individuals, invite others to solution, build maximum win-win. That means only your decision both parties must be satisfied. Therefore, one of the important things what I want to say again is about don't fight to stop conflict, rather, or difference, rather, please, rather celebrate it. I think this is the last point of our discussion. God bless you. This is a course which is given by Guerrilla International Seminary. So the end of this course. So I advise you not only just stick yourself to read this material or to listen this material. I think the hard copy is given for you. You have to read very carefully. And if you have any kind of information, you can find my email from the Guerrilla International Seminary, and we can communicate for further interaction and understanding. God bless you. Thank you very much.